looks great. Hang on. One moment. My whole Mac just froze.
All right, we are getting started. Please have a seat. Are we on? It's packed. I like it. Good? Cool. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. We're excited to have you here. Welcome to our live audience. Welcome, LinkedIn. Welcome, YouTube. We are excited to have you here, too. It's AI for Marketers, number 18. Who is coming here for the first time? Oh, wow. That's exciting. Cool. OK, that's great. So just for the new ones, we are the AI user group. Our goal is to train marketers on new AI tools. So we want to show you what's available on the market, what are the best practices. It's coming either from startups or existing companies, but it's also coming from the community showing best practices. So any one of you here working with AI tools and interested to showcase what you are doing, you are more than welcome to come and present a talk. So we'll talk about that in a bit. My name is Cyril. I'm working on the AI User Group. AI User Group is an initiative from a company called Be My App. We organize a lot of events, conferences, meetup, workshops. So if you join one of our events, you'll hear more about what we do in our newsletter. All right, so this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with Marlin right here from MOPO, talking about revenue marketing powered by GPT-4o. Then it's going to be Dominik from Twilio, and it's going to be about Twilio AI assistants. And then we'll have Cathal from HeyGen presenting making visual storytelling accessible to all. After that, at 8 p.m., we'll do an open mic. So this is the opportunity for you to present something to the community. You'll have a minute. So if you are looking for hiring someone, if you are working on a new project and you are looking for co-founders, if you are, you have an exciting news, you are getting married, you want people to know about this, yeah, this is the time. So don't be shy. You can start preparing for that moment. It's at 8 p.m. And then we'll start networking and pizza. It will be at 8:05 right after that. Just important information here. So we are at Spaces, and at 8:50, doors are closed. So we'll basically kick you out, OK? Nothing personal. This is how it's made here. All right, so this is what I was talking about. If you are working on anything cool using AI, you think it's worth sharing, please come and talk to me. This is my email, cyril@aiusergroup.com. This is not only for tools, this is also for the community sharing best practices. So we are really looking for this kind of talks. So please contact me if you have anything interesting. Next meetup will be October 15. The following one will be November 6th. So you have plenty of time to prepare for a demo. So please reach out if you have anything cool. And without further delay, let's present Martin Hall from MOPO, who will talk about revenue marketing power for with GPT-4o. Martin.
Thank you, Cyril. So I'm going to talk to you really about conversational AI agents for websites. We all good? Hello to everybody online. Hello, everybody here. Nice to meet you all. My colleague Stephanie is here in the audience as well if anyone's got any questions after this presentation. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am, who MOPO is, the journey that we've been on, the product that we're launching into the market, and in particular, I'm going to talk about how the customer journey is changing and how to think about the changes that are starting to happen on Google and on ChatGPT and the implications that has for marketers who are thinking about their websites within businesses. And I'm going to show you the product we've been working on for 18 months, and I want to spend most of my time demonstrating, and I think the idea is that we'll answer some questions and leave some time for that. So first of all, who am I? I'm the CEO and founder of MOPO. I have spent the last 20 years bringing data and AI products to market. I was a founder of Intel's AI group, had a number of positions there, but I've been steeped in this space before even generative AI became a thing. At Intel, amongst other things, I was responsible overall for the software AI strategy before I left to found MOPO. MOPO is my fourth startup, so I'm not new to founding companies in sort of disruptive technology environments. So that's a little bit about me. I'm curious, especially given there are so many new people here, about who you all are. So I'm guessing I know the answer to the first question, but maybe we can get a show of hands. How many of you are using ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude, the general sort of conversational AI in your marketing practice, not just idly? How many of you are using it for content generation and research? Okay, so that's probably about 50% of the audience here. Clearly, I can't see the audience online. How many of you are using kind of marketing-specific applications? Because we're sitting in a time now where we're going beyond general applications into purpose-built applications. So how many of you are using things like Jasper, for example? Okay, all right, fewer show of hands. And then sort of one last question. Given the technology change that generative AI is bringing and the possibilities and opportunities it's creating, it's interesting to reflect on what I think about as first-generation chatbots. in the last month or so, OpenAI have basically announced Search GPT. So the world is changing for the first time in 25 years. What does that mean? And a growing number of users are starting their information journeys familiar with a conversational and/or generative AI-powered experience. For those of you who are sort of following analysts, Gartner, the largest analyst here in the United States, has predicted that there will be a 25% drop-off in website traffic, I believe, in 2025, based on the introduction of these technologies at the starting point of the customer journey. What does that mean for a marketer and a business that relies on its website? And what does it mean for marketers that have to think about the customer journey, where it begins, and how, as a website owner, you move customers along that website journey and meet customers where their expectation is? Well, what we believe and what we've heard from customers is that, and all of us have been using these technologies, is that if a customer uses generative AI-powered technology and/or conversational search and lands on a website, it feels like going backwards in time. What do you confront? You confront a website with a navigation system and on a menu, with a set of menus, different across every website. If you're lucky, you might find a search capability that might help you. What we believe and what we're certainly hearing from all of the companies and marketers we've been talking to for the past 12 months is that websites need generative AI-powered capabilities, and marketers need an agent that can act on their behalf, and can act on their behalf in such a way that it meets customer expectations increasingly where they are, and can enable those customers to basically have a conversation with a website, but it doesn't begin and end there. What marketers are concerned about, based on the marketing technology and sales technology stacks and office systems that sit behind those websites, is how do I get information about a user who's coming to my website? I could deploy an agent, but if all it can do is provide answers to questions, that's not enough. I need that to be an assistant not just to the visitor to the website, but an assistant to me as a marketer focused on revenue. And I have to think about the journey the customer's on, how to move them along that journey. I have to think about my marketing automation system and all the data that I've got in there that essentially sits at the beginning of a back-end system, which is all about generating marketing qualified leads and handing qualified leads into a sales team that's always banging on the heads of marketers and saying, where are my qualified leads? Where are my qualified leads? But when you think about conversational AI agents, they have to not just respond to the needs of visitors and provide a personalized conversational experience, but they have to integrate with those back-end systems and add value to the investments that marketers have made in the technology that sits behind the website. So what I wanted to go through a little bit is just explicitly what have we heard from the customers that we've talked to, and what have we responded to in what I'm going to show you today. What we've learned from customers is there are a number of things that they want from an AI agent that acts on their behalf and that they deploy on their website. First of all, they want a generative AI conversational experience. Check, that kind of is a given, I think. But what else do they want? What we've learned is that all of the content that marketers invest so much time and money into, they want their agents only to respond to website visitors' questions based on that content, no other content. Anybody who's familiar with ChatGPT and LLMs in general is familiar with this sort of word of the year, hallucinations, right? So people get concerned about hallucinations. And hallucinations certainly occur in things like ChatGPT because of the way that they work and the large amount of data that they're sitting on top of. What we've done with the agent technology that we've built is work to make sure that hallucinations are almost impossible, because we don't use large language models in what we've built. We just use the knowledge that enterprises control. So enterprises want their knowledge to basically be used by an AI agent and only use that knowledge to answer questions. What else have we heard? We've heard that much as I believe the website in 5 years is going to look very different to the website we see today. I can imagine a world in which users confront a website and web pages become sort of back-end information, and we're interacting through voice and conversations, and we're getting dynamically presented content to us, right, by these agents. But this is going to be a transition over time. Right now, a lot of investment has been made in web pages and in PDFs, so an agent has to direct users on a website to web pages and PDFs. What else do marketers care about? Marketers care about conversions and care about lead generation. So an AI agent has to be capable of converting. It has to be capable of generating leads. It has to integrate with back-end systems and add value to those investments that marketers have already made in those systems. It has to be capable of handling leads in real time to BDRs and sales team or to support teams, for example, so that someone coming to a website can say, get out of the way, AI agent, I want to talk to a human being. Can I talk to a human being? And then the last thing, which is part of the reason I asked the audience about first-generation chatbots, is what we've heard is that those people who've had experience with first-generation chatbots, either as businesses buying them and deploying on their website, find that there's a hidden cost associated with those chatbots. There's a lot of rules and playbooks that have to be configured, and a lot of time that marketers have to spend continually managing and configuring those systems. The power and beauty and sort of joy of working in this generative AI experience is you get basically to sort of build solutions that are intelligent. We can have all kinds of conversations about whether they're sentient, but there's certainly all kinds of possibilities that this technology makes possible in different AI agents, including what we've built. So what I want to do now is switch to basically a demonstration. I think what we're going to do is make sure that any questions that people have got, I'll leave time for. So what I'm going to switch now, and you can all see this on the screen, is to a demonstration of a MOPO-powered agent. What you're seeing here is a MOPO-powered agent for LangChain. LangChain is one of the top technology companies based here in Silicon Valley that is powering a lot of the applications that companies like ours are bringing to market. So this agent, so that you understand, is trained on some of LangChain's website. Okay? What you're looking at here is really the agent acting as it would act if it was deployed on the LangChain website. It's not actually on the website, but the ease of use that we've built into this is to make it possible for any company to essentially get their agent up and running very, very quickly, and then to install it on the website. It's a single line of JavaScript that you put on your website, so you then have an operational widget on the website. So what we do is we take a screenshot of the website that this is an agent for, which is what you see here. But I'm going to show you two sides of the coin. I'm going to show you the user experience, in other words, what a site visitor experiences when they basically are greeted by this agent on a website. And I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into how you configure this as a marketer and the capabilities that you can give to it. So first of all, let me just sort of talk about sort of conceptually a couple of things. So as I said, the agent is trained on knowledge that a marketer controls. That can be one website, it can be multiple websites, it can be a portion of a website, it can be a third-party website if you want. There are a number of use cases for this, but our initial focus is on customers with one or more domains or subdomains. The agent is trained on all of the information on that website, including the web pages and any PDFs as well. So I sometimes think about this sort of in a human way. It's like training somebody to come in and represent your company. So it has that knowledge. What you can also do with the agent as a marketer is give it additional skills. So when you're giving it skills are really that sort of two sets of capabilities we make possible. All of the marketers in this audience are probably familiar with the fact that they're not only working on content for websites, but they and their sort of revenue operations people and sales team also have technology that might involve YouTube videos. It might involve automatically scheduling a meeting. It might involve surveying users, with SurveyMonkey, for example. In other words, there are a number of additional marketing assets that marketers are concerned with above and beyond the knowledge that's on the website. So what you can do with a MOPO-powered agent is basically add skills that allow you to, number one, utilize other marketing assets that you've got and have the agent utilize those, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But you can also have the agent generate leads and hand off users in real time to sales teams and support teams. So let me get into this for a moment now. So everybody's sitting here looking at the screen. So my computer seems to sort of want to delay right now, so it'll come back again here in a moment. But let me explain the interface here for a moment. We've taken a fundamentally different approach to the user experience here. We're not taking sort of a traditional first-generation, non-Gen AI-powered chatbot approach with a little postcard. What we're doing is basically fundamentally looking again at the user experience. So there's more real estate that's provided here. The agent will greet a visitor in a configurable way. And then for any of you in the audience who've played around with ChatGPT and custom GPTs, we have a thing called conversation starters, which is a way of giving a hint to a website visitor about the kind of capabilities that the agent actually has. I'm going to come back to what you see here in a moment because I'll talk about sort of the skills capabilities. But what I want to do here is basically show you, how the agent operates. So I can click on a conversation starter. I can talk to the agent. I can enter, questions. I clicked on that just as a convenience here, but I want to spend a little bit of time just talking through the way in which the AI agent answers a website visitor. There are a number of elements in the answer. The first is the natural language answer itself. There's some sort of typical affordances that, new sort of LLM-powered apps provide just here, but what we're doing the whole time is trying to make sure that we present basically a path to the most relevant web pages. So think about the main parts of the answer being the natural language answer and the links, and then what we call the next suggested questions. I want to spend a little bit of time on the answers. So what our agent does when it's being trained is understand not just the content of the website, but the structure of the website and the knowledge the website has. So what it's doing is presenting to website visitors some highlights within an answer of things that the agent also knows about. So as an affordance for a website visitor, I can click on individual topics within the answer and get more information. This is all about making it easy and fast for a user to get access to the information that they're most interested in. So I could click on this, for example, and it'll come up with some more information about Langser, for example. Now, while it's doing that, let me just talk to you a little bit about the website links here. So the website links, again, we've got an algorithm here that sort of understands not only the pages that are most relevant to the question and the answer, but we've got sort of essentially our own proprietary PageRank algorithm here. So one of the things that we do is we understand that websites have different value pages. And so the different value of different pages, marketers are always looking for, the high value pages and for conversions and landing pages, for example. So what we do is make sure that the highest value pages relative to the user's inquiry are what gets surfaced first. But if you're interested as a user in clicking on that, then what does it do? It opens up that page, right? So you've basically, as a website visitor, got an easy way of conversing, an easy way of getting to the most relevant web page. Another statistic, I don't know if you're all familiar with this, the average number of web pages that a website visitor visits on a website is between 2.5 and 4. That's a small amount of opportunity to sort of personalize the experience. So what an agent does is basically sits on top, and we've got several customers who've got tens or hundreds of thousands of web pages. The chance of somebody finding the right web page is very, very slim. But when an agent's capable of taking information from the most relevant web pages and composing an answer, then you're creating more value in that slim window of time that a website visitor is going to give you, their time and their attention. So let me go a little further into this. I showed you before the next suggested questions, so I can kind of click on that. But what I'm going to start to do is talk a little bit now about skills. So what you've seen so far is basically the agent using knowledge. Skills are ways, as I said, of enabling the agent to present other marketing assets you've got. So the agent will answer questions. We've got various mechanisms that an agent can be configured to deploy skills. But if a user is interested in, for example, in getting a demo, I can ask the agent, show me a demo, or I can click on what we call a promoted skill. And what the agent's doing here is basically bringing up a video in context to get the user directly to that information. Other skills include, I want to talk to a sales rep, or I want to talk to a service rep, so the agent can gather information and send that information into, for example, Slack or Microsoft Teams, and all of the basically the signals and information in the context of a conversation is being gathered and can be integrated with your own back-end marketing automation system, whether that's HubSpot, Marketo, Pardot, it could be Salesforce itself. So there are ways basically to integrate all of this information so the signals of interest and intent that come from a website visitor are things that add value to the systems that you've already invested in. So I know that I'm getting towards the end of my time here. Lots more I could show you. Anybody who's interested in talking to us about trialing this, myself and Stephanie are here. Please come and talk to us. But I wanted to leave enough time, Suriel, to answer questions out of the audience here online.
I appreciate this. Cool. Thank you so much. Do we have questions for Martin? Yes?
Hi, Vasu here from Conversearch AI. I actually wanted to ask like a fundamental UX question with AI chatbots. So I've done B2B sales, especially in Gen AI chatbots. And I've figured that selling to businesses and selling to websites is not the difficult part, but getting users to use the chatbot, that's a very fundamental negative bias that has been formed around AI chatbots.
Yep.
And chatbots in general, that we as a company, we find it very difficult to remove that negative bias. So like, how do you plan to tackle that in the future?
That's a really good question, actually. And I think that's why I said that, I think there's going to be a transition over time. And the onus is on companies like us and other companies to think through how do we basically invent, UX capabilities to basically overcome the bias that you're talking about. One of the things that we've done already is to enable the agent to be configured on the website in such a way that you can interact with it directly on the web page. So that's what you see here, and I was sort of showing. We've got some other things in the pipeline in terms of, you've seen LinkedIn, for example. It's really possible now to sort of put little things, little widgets on the website that lead you to the agent. So we're giving some sort of thought and doing some experimentation on sort of other mechanisms to overcome the very real bias that you're talking about.
Cool. Yeah, we have a question.
Yeah, question. What's the depth and scale of this product for example, like catalog companies that might have hundreds of thousands of SKUs? I mean, Amazon would be a great example, right?
Yeah, that's an excellent question as well. Not every website is created equal, right? We think the sweet spot for what we're doing is very much kind of the sort of mid-sized business, large-sized business, so with sort of large SKUs and online transactions. It's a different proposition, is getting agents trained to sell, right? To your point, we've scaled up already to tens going on hundreds of thousands of web pages. We've done some experimentation with kind of catalog systems, but we're very, very focused on sort of the marketing side of this, right? Rather than the transaction side of this. When you get into catalogs and online sales, there's a different set of challenges that come with that. Being perfectly candid, we may get there, but we've been very, very focused on a particular problem space. Good question, though.
Thank you. So, medium-sized businesses. So, if it's what I have is a mobile application, right? I have just launched my beta, and it's with a small group and all that. What I'm thinking of is I have my landing page, right? And my mind goes back to how can I answer people's question, right, about what this app does when they come to my landing page, showing them, say, I'm going to make these small demos, say like 30-second demos, 50-second demos, that's kind of relevant or tagged to certain parts of certain functionalities of the app, right?
Yep.
Is that something that what do you think about this? To have a kind of this type of conversational chatbot or simpler that people go and ask questions, okay, so how do I, like, for example, do this? How do I do that? And then we'll be able to show them those videos or just kind of answer their questions.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, you could do that with this agent on an individual page if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to deploy it on every page, right? It's really a question of the knowledge that you give it so it can answer the questions, because landing page is typically a small amount of information,
Yeah.
right, and a form. You can deploy the agent. We've had conversations with customers about exactly this, where the agent is behaving in a particular way on a particular landing page, for example, and then you could use the skills capability, right, to sort of intercept, deploy the kinds of capabilities that I think you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm kind of not super technical, so I'll just maybe like this piece of where I have these videos saved somewhere on my Google Drive or whatever. Is it going to still be able to use that bot to pull those from there? Because it's not going to be on the website somewhere.
I understand. We've been asked that question by a couple of companies.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah, no, you're not. We've had a lot of questions from the conversations we've been having. Here's the problem, right? If you're managing individual documents or videos and giving them to an agent, you're continually having to manage those things. You might be updating them. What the customers that we've been having conversations with are comfortable with basically having a repository, right, at a URL, and then we basically use that URL. So you just keep dumping your documents to that particular URL, a portion of a website, and the agents continue looking at and refreshing its knowledge based on that. It's just a different mechanism to achieve what you're talking about, but without the requirement of having to come back and keep managing. We're very conscious of management and configuration time. What you really want is an agent that you spend as little time as possible configuring and delivers as much value as possible on your behalf.
Thank you.
All right, and that was the last question. Martin will be available during networking, so if you have more questions, that's the right time. Let's give Martin a round of applause. Thank you for the great talk.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we'll have next Dominik.
Cool. All right, can you all hear me? Can I get a thumbs up? Cool. So I was going to start off with a hand raise of asking people if they heard of AI agents, but Martin kind of stole my thunder. So please don't fall asleep during the parts that might be repetitive. I'll try to keep it engaging. But I still want to do a quick raise of hands. How many of you feel comfortable defining what an AI agent is? All right, that's like, for the recording, maybe like 10 people in a room of 100. So I take that. So first, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dominik. I work at Twilio. Since I'm in a room of marketers, you might know Twilio best from our segment product, or from using Twilio to send SMS, do phone calls, any kind of like communication. I started at Twilio 8.5 years ago. I'm originally a developer by trade. I did a bunch of developer evangelism for Twilio and was the only marketer for Twilio in Germany before moving to the US to work more closely with the growth engineering team, move into ultimately becoming a PM for growth. And last year I started a team that was focused on specifically exploring the future of customer engagement in light of rapid innovation around AI and emerging technology. And so as part of that, my team runs a program called Twilio Alpha, where we're really trying to figure out what does the future of customer engagement look like in light of emerging technologies like generative AI. And we use Twilio Alpha as our playground to try out new technology, try out new projects, and really explore that world. And so right now, our main focus is on what is the impact going to be of autonomous agents and artificial general intelligence. For context, that's basically AI that is as intelligent as humans on customer engagement, meaning how will it change if everything is powered by AI agents that can perform automated tasks entirely on its own? How will that change what channels look like, especially how do those channels look like that we're using to engage with our customers? What is the role of personalization and what does data look like? And lastly, because we're a developer company, how does that change APIs and so the developer experience of how we build applications? And so with that, I want to spend the rest of this talk to talk about how we believe AI agents will change your customer data, what you can do with your organization, your team, as well as the customer journey in itself. But first, I promise you, I'll talk a bit about what an actual AI agent is, because the reality is you're not alone with like the 10% here. Like most people have no idea whether we all agree on the same definition of AI agents. So for the sake of this talk, I'm going to define AI agents in a very specific way, and we're going to use that going forward. The first part is they're action-oriented. I think this is actually one of the most important parts. Like a chatbot that just regurgitates things out of like the training data is not an agent. An agent needs to be able to perform tasks, and it needs to evaluate whether it has enough data based on the user input and the tasks it performed to generate output. Only then it's an agent. A good example is ChatGPT in some cases. So in this case, I asked it to evaluate some data on a link that I know is not in the training data, and it had to go and browse the web. It actually had to go 2 pages down from the link that I provided it. It got some intermediary data out to figure out what it needs to do next, and then it decided it had to write code in order to answer my question, because LLMs are not good at math. And so I wrote code to ultimately get to the answer that I had asked it for. And so this is sort of an agentic flow where it had to go through multiple steps. It had to go through some level of reflection to figure out, did I answer the user's question or not? Because we have the AI determine, does it have enough information? Did it reach the step? That makes it inherently non-deterministic, meaning there is no fixed path. There's no full-on flow chart. There is these things called chains. I would argue they're not actually agents because they're not reflecting on this. They're a fixed path. The moment you do not have this fixed decision path, you have an agent. There's pros and cons to that. On the one hand, it's incredibly flexible because we do not have to figure out every possible scenario that the AI might encounter, because we can argue about whether it's actual reason, but reason about whether it has figured out the answer. But it also means that how it gets to those results might drastically change from iteration to iteration, just based on the non-deterministic nature. And then the third part, and this is probably the most misunderstood part, agents do not have to be chatbots. They also do not have to be voice bots. As long as there is a user input, it performs actions, and then there's some output, it's an agent. In fact, to give you 3 examples, one at the AI user group for developers recently, N8N presented their advanced AI feature. N8N is a workflow automation system. In this case, they had a flow. It might be too small. Apologies for that. I really tried to cram in a lot of examples in one slide. But in this case, it triggered on an email that had a specific keyword, and then it executed logic and generated another email. Two other examples are Smallville, which is a research project where an entire artificial village is executed by agents. It's individual personas that walk around an actual village, plan dinner parties, figure out what has to be done, and that's entirely agents. It's entirely AI running this in a loop and figuring out what do I have to remember, what do I do next. And then the last one is Voyager, which is one of my favorite ones. It's basically an agent that plays Minecraft all day, every day, and it has the ability to write code to create tools for itself, and then reflect whether they're helping with its goal, and then continues to play and explore the world, build things. It's a fascinating research paper. All of these links, I'll share them later on if you want to read it, or just look at screenshots and videos. It's fascinating. So those are some examples. In the title slide, it said Twilio AI Assistant, so I briefly want to talk about that. The talk is actually not going to be too much about it, but my team, as part of this exploration of what do agents mean, actually built our own agent builder. It's currently in a developer preview. If you scan that QR code, you can request access. We're going to try to prioritize you. But it's basically an opinionated framework to build customer-aware agents, meaning they can solve problems by having access to tools. Those are the actions you want to take. By having access to knowledge, that's what you can upload, like have it crawl your website, upload PDFs, other files, or connect an existing vector database if you have one. But one of the big things we focus on is customer aware, meaning it can learn with every interaction about the user. Think about the user talking about their favorite favorite color being blue and their shoe size being 13. You can remember this by putting it into the segment profile that powers the customer memory aspect of our agents. And then you can use that in subsequent marketing engagements by creating audiences, creating entire marketing campaigns based on it. And vice versa, we can actually reference the data you already have about your customer so that when the agent interacts with the user, it actually is aware of who it's talking to. And then because we're Twilio and we have a variety of different channels, it's omni-channel, so it can adjust the way it's communicating via those channels, because talking via voice versus email versus something like SMS is drastically different. We don't sound the same when we talk about via any of those channels. So with that, let's tie back to sort of the overall premise of how will these agents actually change your customer data, what you can do, and your customer journey. I'm going to start with the customer data, and Martin touched on a couple of these things. But in order for me to set the scene, we have to do one more definition here, and there's really two types of agents. There's sort of the personal AI agents that are the ones that an end user interacts with and that represents that end user. And then there's company AI agents. Those are the agents that would be on a business website or in an app or things like that that represent the business to engage with the customers. For this part of the talk, we're going to talk specifically about the personal AI agents. And one of the first implications and sort of what Martin mentioned around the 25% drop in website traffic, we're already beginning to see some of this because solutions like Perplexity or even Google's AI overview now provide you with answers to questions without ever having to visit the sources that were used to generate those answers. And this becomes problematic for things like attribution, for example, right? If you create content and that content is actually helping the customer and potentially starts their user journey at this point, but they never visited your website, so you have no touch point whether this was helpful because your website was crawled once, and now it's serving data. If you're lucky, you're one of these few really highlighted ones, but Twilio in this case is the logo in the bottom here. So it doesn't necessarily give you the right attribution and visibility. And one company that especially struggles with this right now is Stack Overflow. For those of you who are not familiar, it's a common page for developers to get answers on questions. And ever since GitHub Copilot came out, which is an agent that helps you build your apps, and ChatGPT came out and stuff, they've seen, even within the first year and a half, a 56% drop in website traffic. And their entire business is getting people on their website. So they're in a really uncomfortable position and are now beginning to figure out how can we sell this data to these AIs instead. One of the other things that is interesting to think about with these personal AI agents is they change the way you engage with your customers and their entire customer journey. One of those examples is GitHub Copilot. Again, this is a tool, an AI agent for developers to use to build applications, and it lives within the editor of the developer. And in this case, I asked it to create some code to send an SMS to a phone number. I did not specify what vendor or anything like that. The AI wrote the code and it made the decision to use Twilio as the vendor. Now that's great for me because I work for Twilio, but this is not great if you're trying to enter a new market, or even if, honestly, if your company is the top ranking but is trying to introduce a new product that replaces the old one. Dealing with all that training data that generated that answer, you will have to compete with that. And competing on SEO was already hard enough. This is a whole new level because it's not just about relevancy, it's actually about the amount of data that was used to train it, and this training doesn't happen every day. And this goes one step further, actually, when we ask more questions around things like, in this case, the code had told me that, or GitHub Copilot told me to put in my credentials for this service. I'm like, how do I get this? And it actually walks me step by step through what I should be doing on the customer website. If I'm now putting my Twilio shoes on, I'm trying to change the customer journey, I'm trying to experiment, I have no control over this. This is entirely based on training data that might potentially be outdated. So even if it, in theory, might be helpful for the customer, it might actually be counterintuitive. It might not be the best way for that customer to use it, but I'm completely out of that control. And then the other part, so far we've only talked about static knowledge or knowledge that was trained in it, is that these AI agents, remember, one of the critical parts is it can perform actions. And with these actions, as AI agents become more capable, more people will expect that you can engage with your company through these AI agents. GitHub is, again, a good example of this already, where they released GitHub extensions, which allow you to engage with third-party companies like Stripe or DataStax and deal with their actual products without ever leaving your code editor. And that means now you have basically an entirely separate client that competes with your website, with your mobile app, and you might have less data about and less control over what you can track. Because it's not just about, in this case, DataStax built this extension, so in theory they could still add tracking, but this is a limited current example. If we look at upcoming research, there's entire companies like Multion who are focused on how can AI agents effectively browse websites? How can they engage with websites they've never seen before? Because then it's no longer about OpenTable exposing a API that an agent like ChatGPT or Siri can use. But instead, it's about this agent just going on OpenTable like a human would do and deal with failures and recover from that until it actually goes and books the appointment you tried to book. And so if we're getting to that, now we're losing even more click tracking, right? We're losing so much information because how relevant is click tracking data, for example, if it's actually an AI clicking the UI and it's always the same after it figured out how to do it, you're losing, again, a bunch of data. And so for this section, I honestly don't really have a good answer of what to do other than have you think about a couple of aspects. One, I think personal AI agents will both be a channel for discovery as well as a platform. They're going to change how we search, like Martin talked about. They're also going to change how how users will engage with companies. As a result, there's going to be changes in attribution and tracking, and you should continue to always think about like how do you track things if a certain thing a specific data point you have suddenly goes away. The other aspect is SEO and discovery are going to become harder, like as you're competing not just around relevancy, but also things like training data. You have to find other ways to get awareness, and social media and other channels might become more important because there you're not competing against training data and you have a slightly better chance of like competing against incumbents. So now that we talked about the customer data, let's talk about how AI agents will change what you as marketers will actually be able to do. One of the things I'm most excited about is it enables you to better understand your customers. LLMs that power all of these AI agents are incredible at processing large amounts of data. Gemini Pro 1.5 Pro from Google can now process 2 million tokens in their context window. For context, that means it can process 2 hours of video or 1.4 million words of data in a matter of a couple of seconds or minutes. This is incredible for you to be able to process large amounts of data and go through them, spot patterns, better understand your community, your customers, and do things like, monitor your online community. You could feed in, like if you have a Slack community, you could feed in all those conversations. Spot trends, figure out who's about to churn, who's frustrated, like trigger immediately actions by, filing Jira tickets for feature requests, or, send emails out with promotions for customers who are frustrated, for example. Like there's a lot of ways that you can better understand your customers and also enrich this data. Like I think one of the biggest things that we tend to run into is unstructured, like data that is not quite the format we expected it to. AI is fantastic at fixing that. Like I think I saw a former colleague of mine use it to fix addresses, one of the things that I've always been frustrated about. So there's a lot of ways for you to better understand your customers. And then there is the opportunity to automate repetitive tasks, deal with things like, creating reports automatically by connecting an AI agent directly to your databases, so that if your stakeholder has a question for a report you've never created, you can just give them access to that agent. They can write what they want. The AI can go crawl your different data sources, connect the data, and then generate the report for you without you having to, lift a finger. And there's a lot of tools that are beginning to pop up, as well as some existing workflow automations, because again, it doesn't have to be a chatbot. So places like Make or Zapier or N8N all began to provide functionality to include either very basic or more advanced agent functionality directly into their products. At Twilio, to give you an example, we've actually created a thing called RFP Genie that our sales team is using to answer RFPs from our customers, where historically it would have taken several days for several SEs and AEs to answer the RFP. Now we can have one person just look over the output, check whether everything seems correct, and call it a day. And so there's a lot of ways for you to just scale yourself and scale your team. And then the last part I want to talk about is how AI agents will change your customer journey. The reality is, I think you probably all know this just as well as I do, every customer journey tends to be unique, and it's incredibly hard to cater to every use case and every customer journey. So we try our best to bucket people and figure out what are the common use cases, but it's never quite right? Everyone is unique. And so what we end up with is support kind of ends up being this catch-all that has to deal with everything that we didn't create an experience for, that we didn't have an FAQ for. And that's not a scalable solution, because if you get more users, that just means you need to hire more humans to onboard them and get them accustomed to your product. You might as well get the customers onboarded. And so we've moved towards, historically creating more opportunities to use AI to deflect requests before they even reach support. The reality, though, is that nobody actually likes these chatbots because in reality, all of them are bad, right? They're essentially glorified FAQ chatbots that answer a set of questions that are somewhere else on the website typically. And so I don't know how about you, but every time I see one, I'm like, and I think this goes back to your question about the issues of how do we get people to engage with chatbots because they got so fed up with chatbots, right? And I think for me, the big part here is it's about resolution. We want to resolve the issues for customers because the reality is by the time that the customer clicks on a chatbot or tries to contact support, they probably tried every other thing and they searched it because I don't know about you, but I hate picking up the phone. I'm a full-on millennial. I do not want to pick up my phone. So by the time that I call, it means I already checked the FAQ page, right? And so I think figuring out ways that we can resolve issues for customers is important because realistically, by the time that they're reaching this, they've already hit sort of their last resort. And so I want to give you a bit of an idea of how we think about this. Because if you think about I think we've all been in this situation, I was just in it last year, where you land and your bag is lost. And now you can go on your favorite airline's website and click on chat. And the reality is you will type in a message I just landed, I can't see my bags. And the first thing is probably going to be here's the lost bag form, thank you. And then you try to argue with the chatbot until you eventually get to a human who can actually help you with what you're trying to communicate. But what if the AI actually is smart enough that it can act as an agent and it can go and check your customer profile and it can realize hey, these are the baggage IDs of the bags that were checked by this customer, and this is the current flight reference number. And now the AI can go in and use other tools that it's been given access to check the status of what where your bags are. It can go and check what your flight details were, and then it can give you a personalized answer about where your bags are and offer you an option to resolve the issue so that you can, even if you throw it a curveball, telling it that you're in the Four Seasons and give it an incomplete address, the AI can go and reason and figure out what data do I actually need to resolve this customer's journey. And now we went from arguing with a quote unquote dumb chatbot for 15 minutes to go and actually talk to a human to resolving an issue in just 2 messages. And lastly, I want to give you a preview around some of these concepts in action with a case study we haven't released yet, so I'm a bit vague about this. But essentially the problem for this customer was that less than 5% of their new signups actually ever reached critical scale and successfully launched. And so the idea is that we would take an AI assistant, so remember that's Twilio's AI agent builder platform, to create an AI assistant that can provide sort of a personalized onboarding experience for the customer so that as they're running into issues, they can actually go and learn and get handheld by an AI to launch because, as I mentioned, every customer journey is unique. And so to get things started, we started off exposing this AI assistant on the customer's Talk to Sales platform, but not directly as a chatbot. Instead, if someone filled out the Talk to Sales form and they would have traditionally not qualified for having a human agent talk to them, we would route them into generating an initial outreach email based on the data we got that was personalized for this user, and then this user could continue to interact via email with this AI assistant to get their issues resolved and understand sort of like how to solve it. And the interactions were not looking like chatbot interactions. They were actually natural conversations to resolve the issues. And what we saw was actually a 5 times increase in activations for these customers compared to sort of traditional signups. And so to wrap things up, some takeaways here. One, AI agents will drastically change the customer data you have, what you can actually do as a team, and your customer's journey. But I think this is actually really exciting, as much as there might be some challenges, because I believe it will enable us to treat every customer like a VIP by being able to, at scale, provide them with the right content at the right time to resolve their issues. Admittedly, some of the things I showed you are not what you would consider enterprise ready. But we're beginning to see more smaller and medium-sized companies, as well as some larger companies, begin to experiment and put these things into production and seeing great success. And so while AI is developing at an incredibly rapid speed, I would encourage you to experiment and try things out, find ways to like low-risk experiment, but also there's other ways for you to, be prepared. One, you're already at a meetup that talks about AI. This is a great way to stay up to date, as much as it's hard to stay up to date. But also get your data in order. Like, data is the thing that is most important about AI. The more you know about your customer, the better you can serve them. And AI happens to be really good at filling the gaps of your data where you might have them. And again, if you want to try out AI assistants, if you want to experiment with that, there's a QR code there. But also, there's a QR code here for the whole slides, and I'll post them on my social. And with that, thank you so much for having me, and I hope you enjoyed the talk.
Thanks, Dominik. Okay, cool. So we have time literally for 2 questions, and one of them will be from the LinkedIn audience.
Awesome.
So we have Al Navarez, who is interested in what's happening in the back end. So you said like it's not deterministic, but he was wondering, like, are you fine-tuning an LLM to achieve these tasks? And I guess if you are, then are you influencing the results, and is it becoming deterministic because of the fine-tuning you are doing?
So specifically for AI assistants, we're currently not fine-tuning for the the actual reasoning loop, the function calling loop, because I think we're still in this space where if you're trying to fine-tune, you better really know what you're doing so that there's no unintentional consequences. And so you need to be really good at figuring out what are the things you want to benchmark, how do you make sure it's not getting learning behavior you don't want it to, because otherwise we're just going to end up in either AI learning things that you didn't want it to, like imagine AI figuring out that the best way to resolve a customer issue is to give a 50% discount. That's not great for your business. The alternative is, it becoming too rigid and not being able to handle new things, and that's why we went to generative AI to begin with. So there's a balance to strike. There's certainly applications for fine-tuning, but at the pace that AI is changing, especially on the foundational model side, the moment you start fine-tuning, you get kind of a bit of a dilemma about did I invest too much into the fine-tuning and now I can't switch to this new model.
Makes sense. Thank you. Here. All right. And if you can stand, amazing. Is it done?
Yeah. Hi, great talk. So the AI assistant you're using, it has a knowledge base that is your customer information and your company information as well. And you're using a foundation-based model. Would that be like Llama or would that be GPT? What is that?
So right now we're using OpenAI's models.
There we go. in order to ensure it is not hallucinating or the answer is giving to customer, do you, like, what policy, what approach you use? Do you have like another agent, like a moderation layer? Or like, how do you go about ensuring the response to customer is valid?
So we're doing a couple of different things. One is we use a sort of agentic RAG approach, basically, where we have one AI agent, basically, or rather a basic AI act as like the expert on answering questions using RAG, and then we have a separate AI that acts as sort of the overall orchestration of answering the full flow, and so it can reference multiple different agents to get those answers. That being said, hallucinations are hard. One of the things that we've done, for example, in this case study that I talked about, is we had an LM as a judge because this was an email use case. One of the benefits is we can have, we don't have to be fully real time, right? Like nobody expects an email to be responded within seconds. So there's a great opportunity to have an LM as a judge to figure out like, is it sticking to certain expectations of ours? But we're looking very much at like different ways to reduce the risk of hallucinations.
So when dealing with customer, you're trying to get the human completely out of the loop.
Yeah, so because my team is trying to think long term, we've set a couple of like rules of like, we're trying to figure out how do we get to a point that matches what the expectation in a couple of years is going to be, right? Like we're not going to expect users to still be there and like play human in the loop.
Awesome. Well, let's give Dominik a round of applause. AI agents, fascinating. And now let's welcome Cathal from HeyGen.
Nailed it.
See?
Yeah,
I'm getting good, huh?
yeah.
Making visual storytelling accessible to all.
Hello, folks. How's it going? My name's Cathal from the HeyGen team. I'm a sales engineer here. I know people are waiting hard on pizza, but stick with me for kind of 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so. I'm going to show you some things I think are cool, and then I'll let you be the judge of what you think of them. One thing I want to say before we jump in is we're hiring designers, and that'll be evident when you see my slides. So if there's any designers here, please chat to me after. The slides are pretty bare bones, but before we get going, I was just going to ask, has anyone here used HeyGen before? Okay, that's a good amount of hands. Would someone be able to shout out what you're using it for? Super curious. Translation, wonderful. Anyone else? Sales outbound, wonderful. Spoke to one gentleman over here doing product demos as well. So yeah, what is HeyGen? We're a generative video platform. We're horizontal. We have lots of different weird and wonderful use cases. At this stage, nothing surprises me. So excited to jump into it. Our mission statement at HeyGen is making visual storytelling accessible to all, and hopefully today we'll be able to cover a little bit of that. So we help people create videos, localize videos, and personalize videos. We speak to lots of different organizations, some enterprise customers, small mom and pop SMB customers, individuals, marketing agencies, churches, nonprofits, you name it. People want to create more videos. Video is the preferred medium to consume content, and I think we'll all agree that we're consuming more and more video, every month, every year. So everyone wants to create more videos for different use cases, and I'll show you some of those today. So one of the things that we hear a lot from businesses are traditional video production. It's slow, expensive, it requires specialized skills. If you want to create some great videos, sometimes you're going to need a camera crew to actually film content, and then you might actually need a post-production crew as well to go in there and edit this content. And a lot of businesses don't have the resources, but they really, really need to create more videos, and that's where we come in. So Our value prop is we help people create videos cheaper, faster. We help them scale up as well. In this conversation today, I won't have enough time to get into our API. I've had a few questions about that already. Some people really want to scale this up, and maybe we'll do another session on that. Today, I'm really going to focus on just our in-app experience and what we do. I'm going to kick things off just showing you one of my avatars in action. And yeah, I'm going to play the video now. Oh, let me plug in the audio as well. Yep.
Hey everyone, it's great to be with you at AI for Marketers today. Our CEO Joshua couldn't make it, but he wanted to send his avatar to share a message.
Hi everyone, this is my digital twin. Now I can show up anywhere, like on a relaxing beach, or a monthly business review, or in product explainer videos. I can also connect with teammates and audiences in any language, like Japanese. こんにちは。いつか私たちのチームに加わっていただけることを願っています。Or in Portuguese. Boa noite. Tô animado por estar aqui e espero que se junte à nossa equipe algum dia. We're hiring across several teams and recently opened up dozens of roles. Join us in making visual storytelling accessible to all.
So yeah, that's a little bit on what we do. We have over 40,000 paying customers now. Here's a quick snapshot of who we work with. This makes us seem like we're much bigger than we are. We're only 60 people. We have an office here in San Francisco. We have an office in South Bay in LA. So happy to chat to anyone after this around hiring. But I want to spend most of my time today in the app, just showing you how easy it is to get going with HeyGen and create videos. So let's jump in. So I'm after showing you our avatar video product. Today I'm going to focus on our two core products, avatar video and video translation. So to create your own avatar, all that we need is 2 minutes high quality video footage, no background noise, expressive. We kind of tell people not to do any gestures like thumbs up. We give you really good guidelines around how to create a video. First thing you're going to need to do is record a consent video, and this just says you give consent to HeyGen to actually create an avatar. Once you've done that, it's going to look something like this. So you'll come in here. This is one I created a little bit earlier today, and you're going to create your first avatar. You can first go by clicking like here. You can record through a webcam. We highly recommend you use a high quality camera. If you can get your hands on a camera like this, that's 4K, it really, really makes a big difference. But creating your avatar is just upload some footage, like so. Oops. And then once we have your consent and the video, you're dropped into HeyGen like this. So if anyone's used Canva, the user experience is pretty similar to Canva. First thing you're going to do is you have your avatar here. You can drag and drop that wherever you'd like. We can start by adding a background here. So here's a lovely sunny background. Next thing you're going to do is come over to the script section. We clone voices within HeyGen. So if you provide us some high quality audio, we're going to clone your voice, and then you can use that for your avatar. So for the video that I just showed you, essentially what we did was we just typed in the script. We used one of my voices like this. And yeah, really simple. If you have a Word document or PDF with a script, you can upload that. But this is an example. Like that. So you can also speak directly into the app if you want to speak through your avatar. So some of our customers come to us and they say, you know, they want to create a lot of video, but they don't always have good hair days. They don't always want to hop in front of a camera. You create an avatar once, and then you have that asset at your disposal. You can come in here, type in a script, create a video. You can also add text to these scenes, like so. And you can also upload your own brand kit. So this is your company logo, company colors, fonts, etc. we'll make it really easy for you to kind of streamline your video production. We also have a library of templates. So the key button here is up on the top left corner. You can start from scratch. You can start by using one of our templates like this.
Greetings, team.
Oops, she's a loud one. But yeah, you can see here, you can overlay music, add your script, and then you can have different scenes. It's really easy then to swap in different avatars. So for example, if we wanted something a bit more formal, we could add this guy in. One of the core things I mentioned was we can clone your voice. So some people here may have been using other services like 11 Labs to clone their voices. You can also integrate those voices here in-app to help with your video creation. I'm going to pause there on avatar video, and I'm going to jump over to video translate next. So some people in the audience might have been here last week for Canva's presentation. So this was one of the employees at Canva created a presentation around their AI automation with Canva. It was obviously in English, but one of the things we can do is take a URL like this, come into HeyGen, click create a new video, come down here to the translate section, and then you can upload a video directly, or you can upload a link. So the link would be just like this, and then you just click translate video once the video has been verified. You come here, you select what the original language was, so it's going to be in English. And then in this case, I'm going to translate this to Spanish. Not only do we have Spanish, we have all the different locales of Spanish. So if you're going after the Spain Spanish market, you're going to want to put it in there. This influences the accent, but this also influences how we interpret the translation to make sure that different words are localized for that market. So for this one, I'm going to do US Spanish. The number of speakers is 1. We also have what we call a brand kit. So this is essentially, if you're translating a lot of videos at scale, you're going to want to prompt our AI model on how you want things translated. So there's going to be certain words that you don't want translated. There's going to be certain words that you want pronounced in a certain way. And then there might be technical terms as well, depending on your content. So for example, anytime our model sees AI in a script, we translate it to artificial intelligence. It's just easier to translate it across different languages. We are working on on-screen translation. I can show you what that looks like as well. But one of the important things here is to tick these buttons. So this one means we're going to maintain the original video quality. So all of the videos shot here today are in 4K. You want to maintain that. So when we do the translation, we're doing 3 key things. One is we're obviously translating the content. We're adding a lip sync to make it actually look like they're talking. And then we're doing the voice clone as well. So we actually want it to look, sound, and feel like it's the same person talking. So I'm going to show you a video of how this turned out when I translated the last video from last week's Canva presentation.
Hola a todos, buenas tardes o noches, ni siquiera estoy segura de qué hora es ya. Me llamo Meredith, soy de Canva y estoy emocionada de hablarles sobre algunas de las herramientas de IA de Canva, así como sobre algunas de nuestras herramientas de desarrollo que pueden utilizar para llevar la IA a la plataforma Canva también. Así que para hacer un chequeo y ver en qué queremos enfocarnos, cuántos en la sala están familiarizados con Canva.
So yeah. At HeyGen, our goal is to make all of our avatars and videos look, sound, and feel like real people. That's what we're aiming towards. As good as our technology is, there's certain content that really suits what we're doing. So, for example, if you're creating an avatar video, it's really important that you give us a piece of content that's high quality with no background noise, that's expressive. We then can use this to create a great avatar. if you provide us a video with background noise, shot on a low quality webcam, it's really hard for us to make something great. So we kind of tell our customers quality in, quality out, rubbish in, rubbish out. And yeah, I'm going to show you another example of how one of our well-known customers used our video translation product. So a couple of months ago, we powered a campaign by McDonald's. It was their first AI activation campaign. It was based around Asian Heritage Month. So a lot of people, myself included, have fond memories of going to McDonald's with loved ones, and in a lot of cases, they might have came to a new country, they don't speak the language, and you might have been communicating in another language while at McDonald's. So this campaign originally started with a couple of languages based around Asian Heritage Month, as I mentioned, but they just got more and more interest in what we were doing, and then they opened it up to a couple of hundred languages in the end. But I want to show you how, as marketers, HeyGen can be used at scale to generate videos.
I get frustrated not being able to communicate with her. There's a huge disconnect there.
If I could speak Mandarin with her, I think she'd be a lot more happy. It gets hard because sometimes it'll just be as simple as, oh, we need to go here, and I don't know how to say that.
I wish that my grandma could learn English, so when she's hearing other people, she feels like she kind of is missing out.
If I could speak in my grandma's language, I would tell her, I'm just eternally grateful for all the sacrifices you've ever made for me.
Grandma, thank you for always being my biggest supporter.
इतना प्यार करती हूँ कि मेरे से बातें खत्म ही नहीं होती.
Ako'y lubos na nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng sakripisyo mo para sa akin.
奶奶，谢谢你一直是我最大的支持者。
I love him so much. I would run out of words to express my love for him.
让我好感动. Hindi ko alam na ganun ako kahalaga ngayon sa iyo.
Come to McDonald's to try the Grandma McFlurry and make your own AI video for grandma at sweetconnections.ai.
So I don't know if we can take, yeah, thank you. I don't know if we can take credit for that, but the Grandma McFlurry was supposed to run for another full month, and they actually ran out of the butterscotch for the Grandma McFlurry. People were really liking it. We're trying to take responsibility for that and our campaign. But yeah, I'm going to show you, just kind of wrap this all up. This was like HeyGen 101, but the video I made a little bit earlier, you can see I'm in the same background that I'm sitting in right now. So we made this just a couple of minutes before the event. It's super easy to do. You can create videos quickly. And you can see here my avatar was shot a couple of days ago with 4K camera, so it makes a massive difference. At HeyGen, as I mentioned, we have two core products, video translation and avatar video. But we also offer a suite of other products that I won't get to cover today. In our lab section, you can see some of them here. Some of the call-outs I want to make is our interactive avatar. So this is where you can connect a video that is a real avatar of a real person. You can connect it to an LLM or knowledge base, and essentially you can ask the avatar a question and it'll speak back to you in real time. I found it interesting this evening. People were kind of talking about negative associations with using LLMs. One of the way we're trying to counteract that is putting a face to the LLM, making it more approachable, more friendly, and just more lifelike. So this is what it looks like. Happy to jump into this some other time. This is also a developer product, so we have an SDK and an API. You can integrate this into your app or website. Some other products we have here is a URL to video. So if you have a URL for a product like a Spotify or Shopify product, you can upload that link here, and then we're going to use AI to generate a video, kind of UGC style content of someone talking. Similarly, instant highlights is where we could throw in the live stream of this event, and we could actually chop it up into different sections that could then be shared on social media. So trying to make things a little bit easier for people. I'm going to jump back to my original slides now. So yeah, we're 65 people, most of which have joined HeyGen this year. We recently raised $60 million from Benchmark. That was our Series A. We've had a pretty busy couple of months. We went from $1 million to $35 million ARR. The thing we prioritize most at HeyGen is just speed. We ship things really fast. If some of you were using HeyGen a couple of months ago, I highly recommend getting back in there and using it again. It's going to be very different to where you left off if you were using it that way. Yeah, again, here's some logos we're working with across financial services, government, software. Yeah, one thing I want to put up on screen is just, this is a 7-day trial. If anyone wants to scan this, we're going to get you set up with some credits. On the form, just let us know if you want to try out the API as well, or if you just want to work in-app. Super happy to let anyone test out what we're doing, the 2 products that I covered today, and then some other products. We're hiring for 18 roles. We expect to be hiring for a lot more. If anyone's interested in helping people tell stories through video, we'd love to chat. And then, yeah, there's my details down the bottom. If anyone wants to talk in a little bit more depth around our enterprise plans or self-serve plans, feel free to reach out to myself. And yeah, I'm going to pause there, see if we have any questions. We have a few already. So
Nice. I'm sure we're going to have a lot. So we have time for 3 questions. I think we're going to just go, to be fair, we're going to go to the back.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry. There's a microphone en route.
Lights on. There we go. My question is regarding the interactive avatar. I've been playing with the API, and I have a use case I'm curious that would be supported. I know you work with human avatars. Is it possible to work with like an anthropomorphized, like animal kind of human form? Would you be able to upload a pre-generated video? And
Yeah.
how would the consent script work? The safety mechanism.
Yeah, we always get the edge cases, but that's what keeps it exciting.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. The short answer is our models have really been built around human-looking people. So we have worked with some kind of cartoon-like characters, but they've been what we'd call humanoid, so they look a little bit more like humans. This means we can get the lip sync to work and that type of thing. The example I give is like The Simpsons. We couldn't get that to work, you know, that completely animated type character, but I'm happy to take a look at what you have in mind and we could see if we could get it to work. In terms of consent, there's things we can do on our enterprise plan. Since we have like a legal agreement with you, it's a lot easier for us to get that to work on the back end, obviously, knowing that it's your property and that.
Great product, thank you. I just wanted to ask how your product is dealing with deepfake technology, specifically because it is prone to having a lot of people doing any kind of version of videos, right? Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Safety, making sure people actually have the right to create these videos is really, really important to us. It's one of our #1 priorities. I'm going to share my screen and just show you the kind of consent workflow again. So the short answer is whenever you're creating an avatar, you have to have consent. So it has to be yourself or it has to be a client of yours that you have permission to create an avatar on their behalf. When you go to create an avatar, the first thing it brings you to here is essentially you have to record on screen like this. You have to read out a password at the end of the conversation, which changes every time. So yeah, another thing you can do is record it via the phone. So either way, we manually actually review all these videos to make sure you are who you say you are. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, very last question. Clear? Okay, very quick.
Quick question, if we're using the avatar, what's the pricing mechanism if we want to use it over and over and over?
Great question. So yeah, we recently shifted to what we call unlimited video creation and generation plans. So you can get started on HeyGen for free today, create 5 or 6 videos, try it out, let me know what you think. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. And then after that, we have a couple of different tiers of plans. We have a creator plan, which is great for individuals trying to create or translate videos. That starts around $50 a month. We then have a larger teams plan, which is maybe like $100, $200 a month. Each plan has more features, but you can get going for relatively cheap, and we don't charge you for the amount of videos you create. So our North Star is trying to get people to create more videos, and we're going to do everything in our power to help you do that. So once you get set up, we're going to help you scale up.
All right, awesome. Let's give Cathal a round of applause. Great demo. All right, just a few minutes before you go. Cool, so we have time for community pitch. So come here, it's a minute, so you have a minute. You can present job offers, product announcements, anything. You can come here, this is a mark, so our LinkedIn audience can see you. We are talking about millions of people. Millions of people.
I'm in panic right now.
Look at that. Okay, let's go.
Okay, everyone. So there's, in San Francisco alone, in every square mile, there's 18,000 people. There's no way that if you want to go out and grab lunch with someone at that specific time, you won't be able to. There's always someone there that would be interested in doing what you want to do at that time, and you should be able to decide who. So you'll be able to decide to create that persona, your persona, their persona. Now, what my product does, Yezer, Y-E-Y-Z-E-R, and we're in first beta release just this week, is that we're going to use the power of AI to connect people. So basically these personas, which every time that you log into the app, that persona can change. And then we're going to have you guys talk with each other, and within the chat, we're going to prompt and recommend you based on what we know about you two, where to meet and what to do. So we're going to basically connect you and tell you what is the next step, what is it that you want to do right now. We're not going to say what are you going to do 3 weeks from now. What do you want to do right now? What do you want to do within the next couple of days? And we're going to help you decide. I think that's the gist of it. So if you wanted to basically be my beta, I would love to have you on my beta team. It's www.yezer.com. Thank you so much.
Great. I'm going to take the next spot, actually, to talk about a conference organized by /Data. Where do we have our friends from /Data here? No. OK. So if you guys are promoting a product to developers, so you are in developer marketing, there is a conference tomorrow about that. And I think our friends from /Data are around, and they can give you more information. It's going to be a lot of knowledge. So if you are in developer marketing, please check out the conference. It's called the Developer Engagement Summit, and it's tomorrow at the Marriott.
Hey, everyone. My name is Boris. I'm a CEO and co-founder of a Gen AI startup here in the Bay Area. We just closed our Series A. We're kind of growing and expanding our team, so we're looking for our head of marketing. So if someone is interested to chat or is open to kind of join our team, I'll be right here on the left. Let's meet and talk. Just a quick note, we grew our revenue by 400% in the first 6 months compared to last year, so in a hyper growth mode, so we would love to kind of talk to you and kind of discuss head of marketing opportunities. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahul. I'm a data scientist. I am developing a platform for helping marketers and sales executives and CMOs and CROs to understand their data better, their own customer data from Salesforce, from HubSpot, from different MailChimp, all the different tools that you all use. We are going to pull in all the data, clear it, use our AI cleaning mechanism, interpret it in our AI analysis module, and bring out actionable insights to help you grow your revenue. My company name is Zenero, Zenero.co. Please check it out. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ray, and I actually work with one company that has two startups. The first one is Cuber AI, and we help with customer support. And basically, we use hyper automation to lessen the small tickets so your team can focus on the creative aspects of everything instead of the mundane things. And the second one we have going is coming within the next few weeks, so you can get on our list to get part of the program. And what it is it's helping you with your social media content. And instead of having to get on your phone every day, look at your computers or logs, you have something where you can just look at the app and you can instill the data that you need to post, and it will post consistently for you at the times that you specify for your data to go out. And so instead of having to think about it constantly, what time it is, what am I going to post, it will do that. So it will make your content go viral instead of having to hire somebody to do it. I don't know if any of you are artists or cooks or any of that, but a lot of the times when you have your life that you have to run in your job and then you have to think about making yourself go viral, it's a lot to handle. So we use Hype Lab in order for you to go viral without thinking about all the logistics and everything else. If you want to talk to me about it, please see me outside, and thank you for listening.
Awesome. Two more.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ron. I am the co-founder and CEO of Shop. And essentially what we're doing is a Tinder for online shopping. And based on the swiping mechanism, we're able to feed the AI highly personalized recommendations to make a personalized online shopping experience. So no more generic products. We want to hyper personalize and make it more engaging for the online shopping experience. We're currently in our final stage of our MVP, which is set to launch at the end of Q4, and we're looking for a go-to-market strategist to take us from what we say from 0 to 1, but also from 1 to 100. So if you are online, my email is ron@shop.ai. If you're here, I'm more than happy to chit-chat with you guys, and hopefully we can get to know one another.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Derek. I'm a research scientist turned founder. The founder of an AI agent company that helps marketers with their spreadsheets. A lot of marketers, as you guys know, have to deal with a lot of data in order to know how your campaigns are performing, finding outliers, dealing with null values, merging information from LinkedIn or Google ads or Facebook ads, and a lot of that work is very manual right now. So I have an AI agent backed by traditional machine learning that doesn't hallucinate, that's able to do a lot of that heavy lifting for you. If anyone is interested in this, please come talk to me. And my email is derek@soleda.ai, SOLEDA.ai. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Next time, we might be in another venue that's going to be bigger. So bear with us. We'll do some announcements soon. Thank you all. Thanks, LinkedIn. See you soon.